Welcome to the Rise and Shine podcast, brought to you by the Coalition on Adult Basic Education. I'm your host, Jeffrey Abramowitz, and for the next 5 days, we'll be celebrating Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. The Rise and Shine podcast will bring together national, state, and local leaders who are driving change in adult education. Each episode highlights inspiring stories, innovative strategies, and impactful policy efforts that advance literacy, workforce development, and lifelong learning opportunities for adults across the country. Tune in each morning this week to hear how communities are coming together to elevate adult learners and strengthen economic mobility through education. And now, let's get on with the podcast.
Good morning, rise and shine, everyone, and welcome to Adult Education and Family Literacy Week and the Rise and Shine podcast. My name is Jeff Abramowitz, and I will be your host for the next 5 days celebrating Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. So excited to be here. Looking forward to this all year long because this is the one time when our voices can really be heard up on Capitol Hill and throughout the entire country. So Rise and Shine podcast is in its, I think, third or fourth year, where we're waking up each and every day this week, and we're going to be highlighting some awesome work being done across the country in adult literacy and education. And we have a great lineup for you today. I just want to lead us off by just being really clear that the facts tell the whole story. 36 million adults lack basic literacy, numeracy, or digital skills necessary for today's workforce. And adults with low literacy skills are 2 times more likely to be unemployed than those with proficient skills. Each and every year of adult learners that they go through adult programming, it increases their annual earnings by at least 10%. And adults with higher education levels are more likely to vote, engage in civic activities, and strengthen democracy. And the list goes on. You're going to hear some awesome stories over the course of this week about people that are really making change happen. And now more than ever, it's time for our voices to be heard. And it's important for people to understand the importance of adult education in the work that we do. I'm Jeff Abramowitz, as I said. I'm looking forward to guiding you through the week. But this is really about the stories. It's about the guests that are going to be on this podcast for the next few days that are sharing the great work that we're doing. And I am so glad to kick us off this Rise and Shine podcast with Jackie Aguilera. Jackie is from the Houston Area Adult Literacy Collective. Jackie, you want to come on screen and we can get you going? How are you, Jack? You're muted? Let's get you off there.
There we go. All right. We're rising and shining. Got to wake the mic up here.
I know. I was going to start off today by just yelling out, let's get ready to advocate, because this is what it's all about. But Jackie, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Absolutely. So I'm Jacqueline Aguilera. I'm based in Houston, Texas. I am so fortunate to be affiliated with a network called the Houston Area Adult Literacy Collective, which is a network of adult literacy providers in the Houston area that are working together to support each other. I serve as a role of provider of liaison, provider relations, helping them be supported, listening to what they need. A lot of what I used to do that got me in the door with the mayor's office for adult literacy. I'm back with boots on the ground in the community and looking at helping them elevate their service impact. I was so excited, Jeff, when I was looking over some statistics from a survey that we did recently. And even with the challenges that our providers faced within this past year, looking at about 28,000 people that were served, with about 21,000 that were supported with wraparound services that are affiliated with collaborations for our providers. So, again, looking at that impact and the overall impact, not only in the foundations of literacy, but then also looking at how it branches out, which is one of the reasons why I always use one of our best marketing tools that we developed at the Mayor's Office for Adult Literacy, my background. This graphic came out of the Adult Literacy Blueprint that was supported by the Barbara Bush Houston Literacy Foundation, and it really helps illustrate the interconnectivity between really what all literacy is and how it impacts the world around us.
I love it. That's amazing. It's great work that you guys are doing in Houston. Jackie, we know that research tells us that about 43 million adults in the US have low literacy skills. And with many reading below the third grade level, from your perspective, what are the biggest barriers that are preventing adult learners from really accessing the literacy and education programs that they need to succeed?
One of the first things is the stigma.
Mhm.
It takes a lot for an individual to say, I'm having a challenge. I need help. I need support in something that is considered so fundamental and basic. It is like the cornerstone to everything that evolves. All the other literacies, the skills, the workforce impact, all evolves from reading itself. So, again, the stigma, letting people know it's okay to have challenges. We all have challenges. I'd love to be a heart surgeon, but guess what? I am not literate in anything to do with heart surgery. So I would have to admit, I'm at ground zero, and that's okay. But the challenge of getting people used to the fact that, we all have challenges, and reading, looking at the challenges there, if we're going to unlock doors, if we're going to actually open opportunities for individuals to continue to be contributing parts of our cities, our state, our nation, we just need to make it okay for people to know, no matter where you're at, adult education providers are there for you to help you excel and meet your goals. The other part, of course, is looking at being able to be aware of what's out there. If at first you start thinking, okay, I know my challenge, I'm gonna, get the courage to go seek help. Wow, who's out there to help? And again, we have a siloed kind of industry sometimes because we know about each other, but we don't serve each other. We serve our communities and our people. So being able to get the education out there that we are here, educating our communities, educating our stakeholders, our wraparound services, being out and being able to talk to the people where they're at, taking opportunities to join those community meetings, being able to network and let people know that adult education is there to begin with, and to make it accessible. A lot of people, again, the finances, they're worried about, well, can I afford this? And thankfully, a lot of our providers are supported with funding, whether public or private. We've got a lot of people who are smart investors because they know the ROI is going to be an informed people who are going to contribute to the economic well-being of our communities.
Jackie, it's a great point. We know that the U.S. economy, adult literacy brings about $2.2 trillion each year, is impacted through our economy every year. And if we could just do a better job of getting people smarter and, getting them under career pathways, I'm just curious from your perspective, how do you see adult education as, and the economic impact that it has in your community there in Houston? What impact does it have?
Well, if we cannot have an informed talent pool, a prepared, pre-skilled, upskilled talent pool, then our employers cannot have the talent that they need in order to produce, in order to create. We look at, again, preparing people, pre-skilling, upskilling, but then within the employer's own backyard, a lot of times their employees need assistance. They need help being able to have the skills, whether it's technology skills or it could be, the basics GED. We're looking at on the job type language challenges. And so, again, adult education fits those gaps, but the employers need to know about us. And we need to make those connections. We can have a thriving community. We truly can break cycles of poverty, but we need to be working together. In order to do that, we need to communicate with each other. And Adult Education and Family Literacy Week is the perfect spotlight to not only influence our decision makers, to educate them, to advocate for the impact and the reason, that ROI, but then also to reach out in our communities to let our employers know the advantages of working with adult education programs, developing internships, apprenticeships, working together for a healthier community.
I love it. So the data, Jackie, was that I was trying to make clear was that low literacy costs the U.S. economy more than $2.2 trillion each year, and that's in lost productivity, unemployment, and lower wages. We're here celebrating Adult Education and Family Literacy Week, and I think I can't think of any person better to kind of to guide us a little bit. What is it that we want legislators and the public to know about education? What is it? What's the message we should be getting out there this week?
My little tagline right there: adult literacy,
There
it's
you
more
go.
than reading. The first thing everyone thinks about is reading, and then we get into all kinds of, different issues and things, and we kind of go down this rabbit hole. But again, reading is the fundamental cornerstone to everything that we need. If we are looking at the deficits in this country, then we need to look at what is the investment value if we support programs, if we support education, if we are supporting. The challenge is getting people to understand that this is not just a literal literacy issue, that this is about developing skills, decision-making skills, different types of talents that are needed in order to meet the economic gaps, the workforce gaps. And we can't forget the family element. We know that statistics show that many people are distracted on the job because of family issues that are going on,
Hmm.
different types of challenges at the home. And we also include those financial distractions as well. So again, looking at, yes, we are looking at struggles. We have the question, well, what is adult ed really doing? And we work with a moving target. We have adults have lives. Adults are challenged by different types of things than children sitting in school desks 9 months out of a year. They have lives. So we are working with a student population that we are constantly adjusting, being flexible, and meeting the needs of them in order to change those statistics, in order to make greater impact. And we need to collect that impact. A lot of times we don't have the data ourselves to really tell our story.
Hmm.
And it's so important for us to collect not only success stories, but success data, and to be able to compare that impact through numbers to really tell the story and show the story qualitatively as well as quantitatively.
So I love it. I live by the saying that a person without data is just another person with an opinion. And we need data to support the work that we do, but we it's the stories, honestly, the stories of our students. And before we let you go, Jackie, I was wondering if there's a story that sticks in the front of your head whenever you talk about adult literacy, one of those success stories. We know you work with so many people in Houston that are doing great work, but do you have any stories that kind of ring a bell you want to share with us on Adult Education and Family Literacy Week?
Well, you're right. There's so many to pick and choose from, but I'll go back to my teaching roots, because one of my big, champions perspective is telling our teachers and supporting our teachers and training our teachers. If I had not been trained as I was and gotten the support that I had, I could not have had the impact. There's a student, her name is Cindy Estrada, and she was working 3 different jobs in the community because of language challenges and, just getting a break. So one of the jobs that she had, one of the persons there had taken some classes at the school that I was teaching at, and told her, hey, you need to go down to Houston, Texas. There's this school called Eastside in the 3rd Ward. Go check them out. And she did. And that's where I met her. She came in as a language student, English language student. She got proficiency enough to start moving up in the job. She didn't have to do 3 jobs. She cut it down to 2. Then we went into the GED lane and, helping her through GED. Well, very long story short, she transitioned through that GED to getting a scholarship to go to Houston Community College, or Houston City College as it's called now. She got her associate's degree. Then she went over to the University of Houston downtown. All this time we stayed in contact with each other. I was helping to mentor her, help her connect with the community supporters to help her keeping her pathway to excel. She graduated from the University of Houston downtown with her degree in business. And today she's working for a major supermarket chain in accounting. All this
Wow.
from an individual that was washing dishes, that was helping at a bar, neighborhood bar, working another job, sweeping up floors, just the minimum wage, trying to pull from here and there. But with the right support, the right connections, and most importantly, the voice of the community. If the people we serve share with each other their stories, my gosh, we are building so much community. And then we bundle that into a perspective where we can present it to our legislators to let them know, hey, this is the kind of impact we have. This is the pathway. And now this person is going to create a family that will follow in these footsteps. This is how we're breaking generational poverty. This is how we can succeed. And they need to know that it's a lot more than reading.
Thanks, Jackie. Jackie, it's always good to see you. If people want to get more information about the work you do, how can they find you?
The best way to locate me is on LinkedIn. If you can catch my profile on LinkedIn, Jacqueline Aguilera, I do a lot of marketing there. I do a lot of interaction there, and especially with the Houston Area Adult Literacy Collective. We're going to have a gathering next month, and I really want everyone to know that you are welcome, and looking forward to working with you more. And thank you, Jeff, for this opportunity. Thank you, COABE, for your leadership and your training, because I am a graduate of the SAFE Fellowship Program, and couldn't have done it without you.
I
Thank you.
love it. Great seeing you, Jackie, and thanks for kicking us off this week. We are here at Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. Rise and shine. Bring your coffee. You're allowed to bring your coffee to this podcast. So please do. And we're looking forward to a fun week of just some great stories. And Jackie kicked us off with amazing style. Next up, we have Ray O. Ray is the director of New Americans Initiative in Harlem at the Harlem YMCA. Ray, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great, Jeff. Wonderful to be here. It's a pleasure to be here today.
It is great to meet you. And I wanted to kick us off. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do in New York?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Ray Wu. I'm the director of the New Americans Initiative at the Harlem YMCA. So New Americans Initiative is YMCA flagship immigrant integration programs. So we work with immigrant adult learners across New York City to help them integrate into the city life and as they build their life in a new country. So we provide ESOL services, case management services, citizenship class preparation, and many other more services that will be beneficial to our community. Yes.
It's such great work. It's got to be so hard right now. There's a lot going on in our country when we talk about immigration and language learning. And I want to start off really basically with the importance of educating people on the English language throughout our country, and how do you go about doing it? Like, what is it that your philosophy is in getting people smarter when it comes to English language learning?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jeff. So yes, it's a challenging time for us, but the mentality and the approach that we are taking right now is to build community that are welcoming, to build community that are positive, and to build community that embraces the value of, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Hmm.
Because when we talk about integration and adult literacy and learning English, we are talking about justice in general. We are fighting against a racial justice. We are fighting against for the social justice and then economic justice, because a lot of these people come into our country to find a better future. They have has trauma that they face in their countries, and then they're here, and then they have hopes, and they have willingness, and they also have the capacity to help build our country, to help build our economy as well. But the gap between that is the language. We
Hmm.
are an English-speaking country, so most of them don't speak the language, so they face a lot of barriers to achieve their potential and to achieve their goals, and so that's where we came in, and we try to build and bridge that gap so that they can go ahead and be part of our society, integrated, and then help build a better communities around the world. But we are focusing on New York City as well, because we are a city that always embrace immigrants, and that we will always will be. So that's how we see our work, and how we do our work as well. Yeah.
I love it. So how many people do you serve in New York, and
Mhm.
how do people register for classes there? What does it look like to be part of your program?
Mhm. We have 4 different in-person locations across New York. I'm based in Harlem, and then we also have one in Chinatown, one in Brooklyn, and one in Queens, Flushing as well. We run about, I'll say, 500 adult learner every year across our location, and we also have online classes. To be registered for our classes, all they have to be is an immigrant in New York City, live here, and then they have to be above the age of 18, and then everybody is welcome regardless of their immigrant status or the legal status. We welcome everyone, and that's the approach that we're taking. So they can just walk in to our branches, Harlem, Chinatown, I mean all the YMCA across New York City, or they can just go to our website, our YMCA New American Initiative, and then they are welcome to be part of a community and family. Yeah.
What are the biggest challenges that your organization faces today in
Mhm.
providing the services?
Yeah. So the biggest challenges is of making sure that people in the community knows how important this work is, and to letting the leaders know how important this work is. New York City is such a vibrant city, but we also have to acknowledge the fact that almost 2.2 million adults lack a high school diploma and or English proficiency, and 70% of them are immigrants. So that's untouched potential. So the main challenge that we are addressing right now, and then is to lift up the stories of how literacy, how workforce development, and how lifelong learning actually strengthen our community, and help create pathway of opportunity for the people, for the community, and for the city itself. Yeah, so
I
that's
love it.
Mhm.
I love it. And Ray, it's not just about the adult learner anymore. It's also about the fact that, when mom and dad get smarter, their children are likely to follow in their footpaths, and they're likely to finish high school and go on post-secondary or find that career pathway that excites them. We're celebrating Adult Education Family Literacy Week this week, and across the country, the message that we want to get out is that adult literacy is important. You have the floor now. I want you to talk to the legislators. I want you to talk to the people that are out there in the public. What is it that you want them to know about the work you do and its impact?
Yeah, thanks, Jen. And you're absolutely right. When we change the light of the mothers and the fathers, we break the generation of cars, and then we move forward. I mean, to share a story, we have in our class we have a mother who came from Senegal learning English. Every evening she comes to YMCA learn English, and then after a couple of months, she walked into her daughter's school and started advocating for her child, started asking questions with the teachers, and then started engaging in those kind of work. And then that is creating a better life for her daughter. And then we have people who came in, learn English, and then got on working and building successful careers as well. And then who learn just how to navigate their life in the city and across the country as well. So the message that I have today, as I said earlier as well, is fighting for adult literacy education is fighting for the racial, social, and economic justice. And that's an important work that our community need to work on. And then we need more funding going towards these kinds of programs, because that help us build our community. In New York City, 8 million people are below the level 3 proficiency in reading, and we need to uplift these people out of that, because we have seen trends and data where people start to gain the literacy skills and move on with their lives. They start to, they start to came out of the poverty line as well. So those are the changes that we want to see happen. And then I hope that all the leaders listening hear this message and then fight for the justice together as a community. Yeah.
I love it. One of the questions I often get, Ray, and I wonder maybe you could help us with is, I want to get involved. I live in New York City. I work in New York City. Like, how can I get involved in my community to kind of help the cause and to get the message out? What would you suggest to people? How can we get involved with your organization, or how can we get involved in ESL, supporting ESL learners?
Yeah, so my suggestion will be just walk to a community-based organization, just walk to a church or a mosque or an institution near you. You will be surprised to hear, tons of stories and the amount of support that you can provide. It's not just about money, just talking, in our case in particular, helping the immigrant integration, just talking with them, just checking how they're doing. And then I'll say go to community events and meetings. And then if you're in New York City, we have over 20 YMCA across the city. Just walk into our building and then ask us about, how can we be a part of the work that you're doing with the New Americans Initiative. We are more than happy to help you, bring into the family, just set up conversation and then take it from there. And then you will be surprised to see how our stories are connected. Everybody has a story, and then these are not isolated stories. These are connected. And we want you to be a part of the everyday real Harlem YMCA New Americans Initiative, and then all the lives of the newcomers in the New York City as well. Yeah.
I love it. So, Ray, you're not alone. I think we have adult literacy agencies across the country that are facing similar challenges right now when it comes to ESL support and providing English language support for our adult learners in the country. But if people wanted to connect with you and find out all the great work you're doing in Harlem, how could they reach out to you? What's the best way to connect with your program?
Yeah, so you can visit our website, Harlem YMCA, and then you will see the New Americans Initiative page. You can also visit YMCA of Greater New York New Americans Initiative. And if you want to reach out to Harlem YMCA New American Initiative directly, my email is hoo@ymcanyc.org. And I'm more than happy to answer all of your email, and then look forward to connecting with the leaders to help build stronger communities for newcomers and for everyone as well.
Ray, thank you so much for taking some time with us today. It's Adult Education Family Literacy Week. Certainly hoping that all the people in New York, in Harlem, and around the New York City area will get involved. Just go talk to a local representative, go to a local facility, share some of the stories that are out there of people doing great work. And you guys are certainly doing great work, Ray, and we appreciate you. We hope that you'll be part of COABE family this year and continue to share the great work that you're doing with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jeff. We are always following COABE as well, and then looking forward to connecting more.
Awesome. Love it. Well, have a great day. And we are going to be moving on. Our next guest on the podcast is I like to call him a friend. He probably is we call him a social influencer because he is out there. Joel Floyd's joining us. And I'm going to make sure I get this right, Joel. He's the campus director of Smith Chason College, newly anointed, just got promoted into the position. How you doing, Joel?
Good morning, all the way from Los Angeles. How are you, Jeff?
I love it. I love it. All the way. It's a little bit early there, isn't it?
Yes, I know east to west. Yes, it's very early, but it's all good.
Awesome. Joel, can you introduce yourself to our folks and tell us a little bit about the work you do?
Yeah, so I am Joel Floyd, Dr. Joel Floyd, and I am the campus director at Smith Chason College. At Smith Chason College, what I do is I oversee all aspects of campus operations, from academic programming, faculty development to compliance, focusing on creating student outcomes, high student outcomes and strategic planning. The school focuses on ultrasound, DMS, CVS, diagnostic medical sonography, cardiovascular sonography, MRI, and nursing. And we do it through a lens of equity, focusing on the students and ultimately preparing our students to become lifelong learners.
So, boy, that's a mouthful. And it's amazing the work you're doing. So, one of the greatest needs we have in our country right now is in the healthcare sector. And you guys are diving in and providing and helping people to fill those positions and employers to fill those positions that are so needed around the country. So, drill down with us a little bit about education. What role does basic education for adult learners have in the work that you do, and how important is it for people to understand in the career trajectory that you work in that where it all starts?
Yes, well, I think it's important. And so just going back to the work that I do at Smith Chason again. So what I'm doing is focusing on this culture of care for adult learners who come from all walks of life. And we know that adult education is a fundamental right for all individuals, for adults in this country. And what I love about it is focusing on this equity piece. We enroll students from all walks of life, non-traditional adult learners who come from backgrounds where they may not get into the traditional college, or where they're facing certain barriers, transportation, childcare, or they may be working full time, etc. So what we do is we allow these learners to come in and to obtain critical credentials, critical to the healthcare field, such as MRI, sonography, so that they can move forward in their quest economic mobility and continue to press forward in their lives.
Joel, I want to go back for a second, and I want to start with the notion that there are thousands of barriers for adult learners getting through to get to whatever their academic goal is, whether it's a credential or high school diploma or going post-secondary, whatever it is. But you see in the work you do, you see all these barriers that are thrown at people. Can you talk a little bit about the barriers that people experience, especially the adult learners, and what are the things that we as communities can do to help reduce some of those barriers?
Yes, and so just going back to the equity piece. So, for example, being the campus director at Smith Chason College, it allows us, our stakeholders, to create programs that are career focused, where all students are included, who come from underserved populations. For example, we create additional help or testing for our learners, meeting them where they are. We have all types of student town halls. I've opened up I don't know. I'm froze for some reason.
No
It's
worries.
more. Yes. And so, when you think about adult education, we think about it for our students. Many of them come, if I think about it metaphorically, we can think about it as a bridge that's being rebuilt. So we're helping students to rebuild that bridge. We can think about it as metaphorically as a compass, in a fog or a garden in an autumn. So whatever it takes to meet our students where they are, that's what we're doing from a day to day.
And I love it. I think the reality for adult learners often is that it's not that they can't do the work, is why they don't persist. It's often because of housing issues or addiction support issues or family or child care or healthcare related issues. Like all these other things pile on. And those are the things and the challenges that stand in front of people. And I know, Joel, you are kind of in the heart of this working with the students. And I'm wondering, every time I see you, you got a story for me. Mr. A, you got to know this person or this. Are there any stories that ring true to you that you want to share out today of those successes, those people that really have changed their lives because of the work they've gotten into and the work that you've done?
Yes, Jeff, thank you for asking that question. So in our nursing program, we, as you know, when before someone becomes a registered nurse, they take the national exam that's called the NCLEX. And every Friday, what I do around campus, I make it my business to talk to students and hear their stories. On last Friday, there was a lady in her 50s, and what she stated, she says, "Well, I'm here and I'm preparing for the NCLEX exam. And if I passed the exam," and I stopped her right there. I said, "Well, around here we don't say if I, we say when I."
Mm.
I said, "Because you're coming here, you're
Well,
putting in the work. You have been here for the last 2 to 3 days, and you are preparing for this exam, and you are going to pass the exam." And when I refocused her and we began to change the language, it was just like an aha moment for her. And then
mm,
she opened up again to tell me her story. Her story was very interesting. Quickly, she told me that she had 7 children. She sacrificed the majority of her life taking care of her children in this single parent household. And before she came to Smith Chason College, before she was allowed entry, her high school diploma had been lost. And so the year before, last year, she had to go online and grab a high school diploma and study for that. And then she would just begin to tell me about all of her wins. And this was a great moment for me as well, because what we understand about adult education, it is important because it's giving people that second chance, as I mentioned earlier. And she just began to talk about being thankful for Smith Chase and allowing her to come in and to prepare for the exam and to move forward. And then she also began to pull out all the certificates and things that she had been doing as far as online learning and just building herself up to become a lifelong learner. So that's just a testament to the power of adult education and um, just a reflection on the importance and the critical role that adult education plays in the lives of adults, despite their background, despite their age, despite their geographical location.
I love it. So, Joel, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. You're known in the field as being this social media guru. You're out there, and what can we do to get this message out in social media?
Yes, and that's the great thing. As you're over in DC, I'm in California, and we're on different coasts. That's what I love about social media. It allows us to tell the story. It doesn't matter what coast we're on. And one of the things I do is I use social media as a strategic platform to highlight these stories. One of my go-tos is LinkedIn and also Instagram. And I am constantly thinking about a story, whether it's through student testimonials, what we're doing with the faculty, our mission statements, all things pertaining to adult education. And what I would say to those who are advocating for adult education is consistency is key. Oftentimes we'll make a post and you may feel a certain kind of way, but you have to continue posting, reposting, engaging in communities that surround our work, adult education, the various associations, those people who are leaders and stakeholders, teachers, and the like. And it's about just being consistent and being strategic on those platforms.
Yeah, I
Big
think for
platform. Mhm.
Yeah, I think for sure part of it is sharing stories. People will remember the stories that they're going to hear this week on the Rise and Shine podcast, and they're going to remember you for the great work you're doing. And you're filling a need in this country that I think we often don't talk enough about, which is the connection between education and workforce development. And in particular, in your sector, the healthcare sector, where there's such a shortage right now of crucial talent, what you're doing is not only giving people an opportunity for an entry level job, but you're giving them this career that's just going to last forever. And I think that's remarkable. As an advocate, Joel, I know you're doing great work all the time, just sharing out the stories and the work you're doing. If you have any guidance for people at the local levels, in your communities that are out there, what's the best way for somebody to get involved and to kind of share their passion for adult literacy or to really share the stories that they're seeing?
Yes, well, I know here in California we have three adult state associations alone. So one could easily connect with the adult education state association in their state. Just my journey when I was in Georgia, I got connected to COABE, which is the Coalition on Adult and Basic Education, and became a member and began to work with COABE and meet various stakeholders, other instructors, administrators. And I think just reaching out to any stakeholder that focuses on adult education in your field. But I think starting with associations, COABE, there are many, many associations and organizations, professional organizations. So just it's really about getting connected. And so just not there if you're busy. Social media is a way to get connected by engaging with stakeholders online who that focuses on adult education as well.
I love it. The other thing that you do really well is you use LinkedIn, which is just this network of our community that's out there, and communicate with people about what's going on in the field and share stories through LinkedIn and other social medium. But we also if you go to the COABE website at coabe.org, man, there's just a wealth of information, resources, tools that you can not only learn how to become an advocate and how best to advocate, but also resources for the field of how to be a better instructor, a better teacher, and really connect with others that are doing great work in the country. Joel, if we wanted to get some more information about the great work you're doing, how can we reach you?
Yes, and so if you want to reach me, you can reach me on my primary social media platform, which is LinkedIn, by typing in my name, Joel Floyd. I will pop up. You will see me there. I'm again um, constantly posting things pertaining to adult education and our great field. So again, that's Joel Floyd on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Before I let you go, Joel, one last question, which is, what are you doing this week? What are you going to do to celebrate Adult Education and Family Literacy Week?
Yes, well, stories. I'm collecting stories. We're putting
Love it.
together stories across the campus. The faculty, we're going to be talking about their important work and just the general impact of adult education in our college and around the state of California, and just finding those unique stories and just amplifying those stories so that people can know, all stakeholders, policy makers can continue to know the critical role that adult education plays today and will continue to play.
I love it. Jason, Joel, it's great to see you. Congratulations on your recent promotion to
Thank you.
campus director at Smith Chason College. And you're awesome. You're doing great work around the country and in California. And again, I look forward to following your leads on social media, and we'll continue to follow you. So thanks for checking in with us on the Rise and Shine podcast. And we're gonna let you go and bring up our next guest. And our next guest, Ted Kroll, is president of Michigan Adult Community and Alternative Education Association. And before, Ted, we get to you, just remember, this is Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. We're here at the Rise and Shine podcast. You are permitted to bring your coffee. It is totally okay to be on camera with it, and we love it. But we're excited to have you, Ted. As you've seen, we've got some great people that are on the podcast this week, and they'll be on each and every day. We're hitting a lot of different sectors across the country, giving voice to a lot of students and educators and administrators in this space, and we're really fortunate to have you. I have to tell you that I am just coming off a trip from Michigan last week, and what a beautiful state. But Ted, welcome. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little about the work you do?
Yeah, good morning, Jeff. Thank you. So my name is Ted Kroll. I'm the Director of Adult and Alternative Education here, actually kind of a little bit west of Ann Arbor in Michigan here, go blue. And in addition to that, I'm the president of MCA, so our Adult Community and Alternative Education Association, as well as I work with our local literacy coalition here in our county as our vice president. So kind of covering several different areas. But that's a little bit of a background to me. But MCA, really a lot of what we do is just work around advocacy for adult education. We represent over 120 agencies with over 550 practitioners around our state. And we really support through professional development, advocacy efforts, and things of that nature.
So Ted, can you talk us through a little bit? I think when we think about advocacy, there's some people that think about advocacy as being on Capitol Hill and meeting with legislators, but advocacy it has many faces to it, and there's many ways of being an advocate. Can you share a little bit about the work you do and what advocacy kind of means to you?
Yeah, Jeff, I think advocacy, we hear that a lot as well from our members around a little bit sometimes of a little scared of advocacy in some ways, but we really try to highlight to them through some of our work that advocacy happens in so many ways, from working with your local school districts, business partnerships. One of the big things that we've got going this year with the help of COABE is our Learner Advisory Council. So the importance of that student voice, that learner voice, as part of our advocacy efforts, in addition to what we do, on the Capitol steps. So everything from we did a rally this year about adult education. We run our advocacy day usually in the spring where it aligns a little bit around the budget time. But we do a lot in terms of advocacy, bringing on different guests to help our members learn a little bit about what advocacy is. Obviously, taking part of AEFL Week, we have a statewide challenge that we do along with that proclamation challenge as well. So we try to really tell people anytime you're talking about adult education, anytime you're in front of whether it's local governments, businesses, school boards, just in the general public, you're advocating for adult education.
I love it. So you have a number of things you just threw out there. I want to slow down for a second because one of them is this Learner Advisory Council. And I believe in the saying that those closest to the problem are closest to the solution, and having our students' voice at the table is so important. Can you tell us a little bit about the Advisory Council and how it works?
Yeah, so our Advisory Council is open to any past or former student who has been part of one of our members' organizations. We meet monthly, excuse me. And we actually have a former student who is now working with one of our adult education one of our adult education providers that actually runs it, Marisol Adelman, who is also a SAFE fellow as well. So they meet monthly, usually in the evenings, and we just really want to hear their voice from the field, what they're seeing, what their needs are, and we help prepare them for our advocacy that we do as well within our state. We just had at the rally, we had one of our learners, Kelly. She wants to trademark the phrase, "I got my GED at 43." They're big advocates for us in all realms, whether it's when we're on the Hill or just being to go out in the community. And I heard you with one of the other podcasters earlier, just spreading the message anytime they're out that what adult education means to them and how it's changed their lives. So we open it up. There's we have them write a little bit about how adult ed has impacted them. And then we onboard them through our monthly meetings and really just try to help hear their voice, let them talk a little bit about what they're doing. We brought one of our learners to COABE last year, so they could go through your professional development around that as well. And so it's something we're doing that's a little bit newer, but we're kicking it off pretty good.
Awesome. I want a big shout out with our state advocate, our Safe Fellowship program and our Sally programs for COABE. We now have advocates from around the country, just about every state represented that's doing this great work. When it comes to Michigan, I know just because I just took a drive through it, and I will tell you there are some areas that there's not a school within miles, and you face some really different challenges because you are a really large state and very rural. There's a lot of parts of it that people would have to commute an hour or more to get to a program. And I'm wondering, what are some of the challenges that Michigan faces that are unique to the state?
I think one of the things you mentioned, especially when you get up into our Upper Peninsula area and some of the northwest and northeast corners of our state, even to the southwest, we get some really very rural areas. So I think we've done a lot of work around trying to reach those through satellite hubs, even mobile GED centers, really working with our state office, Labor Economic Department, to try to find ways to be creative around getting to those rural locations. And really, even some of the things that we're looking at, even with internet connectivity, is still something that we're working on around the state. I know a lot of different departments in the state are looking at that as an issue that we have, but we have a lot of solid partners that work together with their Michigan Works Association, so our workforce development agency. They work as well with a lot of the local, different literacy coalitions, refugee development centers, to try to become satellites in those locations to be able to open up those opportunities to our learners. So I think our geography plays a unique role in it, as well as some of the issues that we have around connecting our learners in the new hybrid models that a lot of our organizations are using.
Yeah, definitely a challenge. We were up in the Upper Peninsula, up by Mackinac Island last week, and definitely challenging. I know I lost cell service a good dozen times or so as I was traveling up there, so I can imagine what it's like for adult learners to try and connect.
I would say one other thing, Jeff, too, is public transportation for us in Michigan, being the hub and the birthplace of the automobile. Public transportation in a lot of our locations hasn't really expanded, right? So it's one of the things that we work a lot with, trying to find transportation. It's one of the reasons a lot of our organizations and members have gone to a hybrid. So mix the rural part in with not a lot of public transportation, reaching our learners is something that we really are working on doing.
Yeah, we talked a little bit today about the economic impact of adult education. And you mentioned Michigan Works, which does an amazing job in the state. And I'm curious, for the longest time, adult education and workforce development haven't really, they have not gotten along tremendously well. They're now beginning to talk the same language and beginning to work together. And this partnership, which I just think makes a lot of good sense, both nationally and across the states. And I'm just curious if you could share with us a little bit about how you work with Michigan Works and what that relationship looks like.
Yeah, it looks different all over the state. They're all some of our core partners for the majority of our organizations. It looks everything from actual co-location in Michigan Work facilities or Michigan Work, what we call one-stops, where the participants can come in. They can connect to possibly one of the WIOA programs that are there, or one of the state programs, along with receiving their adult education services there. In some cases, we have shared career advisors, or we have shared TABE or CASAS testing. We really try to work with braiding the funds that are available with each other for things like transportation, for things like internet connectivity, technology. And so, we really also work to try to be part of their partner programs. I meet quarterly with our Michigan Works regionally and their partner program and their partner network meetings, so we can talk a little bit about it. At our most recent rally of adult education, we had the executive director for Michigan Works Southeast speak about the importance of adult education. So we really try to partner with each other in all those different ways, from advocacy right down to our learner and our learner's needs.
I love it. So one of the things that keeps me up at night and I'm sure it does you as well as a lot of directors and people that are active in this space, is the issue of funding. And I was wondering if you might want to share with us a little bit, especially as we're advocating this week on Capitol Hill and, in the state capitol in Michigan and across the country, how important is funding to the work that we do? And how can we, what's the message we should be sharing with legislators about our funding priorities?
Let's start with funding priority. Adult education is an economic game changer. I mean, we were just meeting with some legislators recently, and from some of our data in Michigan, I mean, just a high school diploma in the first year equates to $7,500 in differences in their wages over a 5-year period, over 10,000. We were talking with legislators off of our most current numbers, and we're talking about a $30.9 million impact in year one, in the state of Michigan. So our message is really, it's generational changing in terms of, the importance that it plays. Here in Michigan, we're in a little bit of a pinch right now. We do not have a budget passed. And so our organization, our association's been really busy in terms of advocating in Lansing for our needs, and that without these needs, we're not getting the learners, we're not getting our citizens what we need and what they need to change their lives, to change the lives of their families, and to have that economic impact. We know there's labor shortages as well, and so to speak to the economic impact of preparing our citizens in our state for those high demand jobs that require basic education is so important. So we really speak to the economic return here in our state of the impact on adult education.
I love it. You did get a request from a friend of mine, Kathy Tracy Olson's on, and she wanted to know where you got the $7,500 number from. And if you have, if you wanted to share that or in the chat when we get done, that'd be awesome. But I think it's important for us to understand when we could put a number to it. A lot of times legislators will say, that makes kind of sense, right? $7,500 is a lot of money for a family today, and be able to have that kind of impact. If people wanted more information about the work you do, Ted, what's the best way to get information about the association or get active in it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the best way to get in touch with me, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about our association, what we do, you can email me. My email is Ted Kroll, just like you see spelled here, at Livingston, LIVINGSTONE, and it's an Edward, SA.org. Or you can go to our McKay.org website and connect through that. And our director, Kristen, who I know is in Flood the Hill at Flood the Hill in DC with 3 or 4 other of our colleagues from Michigan, will get in touch.
I love it. Ted, thank you so much for being with us. And we appreciate all the work you're doing in Michigan and all of the advocates that step up in the state to really help us not only on a national front, but locally. Yeah, we'll, if you want, Ted, if you could throw your email in the chat. And again, and thank you so much for being on today. As you can see, we got people from all around the country that are listening to us. Some friends that are listening to us and watching the podcast. I hope that you'll get your friends to listen tomorrow morning, grab their cup of coffee and start off with us. We have our last guest today before we close out is Irene Ramos. Irene is she's the Vice President of Texas Association for Literacy and Adult Education. How are you, Irene?
Well, hey there, Jeffrey. I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. I'm also in DC.
Woohoo!
Of the Hill. I know, woohoo! And you mentioned I got my coffee right here. Super duper stoked about talking. Man, I got some people to follow though. I mean, like Jackie coming in, because Jackie's a fellow Texan, the great state of Texas, talking about workforce that she did. It was so good. And then Joel, who, he really is great at social media. Oh my gosh, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. And then of course, Ted, who did all, mentioned about the student councils, just all these wonderful practices. Everybody's getting some good info. Big shoot.
I love it. Thank you so much for being with us, and thanks for being with us in Washington D.C. I'm here up in Washington now. We're gonna be flooding the Hill tomorrow, and the rest of the week we're gonna be attending a whole bunch of different events here, sharing out. So I'm looking forward to actually giving you a hug and saying hello in person. But thanks for joining us today. Can you tell us a little about what the association's doing in Texas and how you're making advocacy make change happen?
Well, thank you so much. Again, excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me. And in regards to Taylor, right? And you're asking in regards to what Taylor is doing. So, we have a very good model, and you mentioned COABE earlier and all the resources that they share on their website. So we try and support programs through. And one of the biggest ways we support programs is through professional development, outreaching with them, supporting them. But one of the key features of our Taylor membership is also that we offer, when someone is a member, a program either by an institution or organizational membership, their students can join our organization for free. And if I've learned anything through this advocacy, through this 35-year career that I've had in adult education, it is that advocacy is a skill. It is a skill that must be taught to everyone, depending on what role they play as an advocate at any time. And so one of the empowering things for our student is attending conferences. I think somebody mentioned, Ted mentioned that the students attending COABE, sending students to COABE. We also sponsor student awards. So we honor students at our conference every year. We give out $500 scholarships to students so they can transition into their training or help support them in any way, whatever it is that they may need. That money is for them to use to support their education, whatever gap they need to fill. And usually when they have gone through adult ed, we see them become hungrier. They are now shifting into that lifelong learning mode, again, picking up those skills. And when they're at that point to where they're ready to use the advocacy skills that they've picked up in classes, so they can get up and stand and deliver at the conference and share their story, it is so impactful. And really, they become a role model and a mentor for other students who come after them.
I love it.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Advocacy is definitely something that for many people, it's a skill set that you have to learn and understand. But advocacy comes in many forms. And, sometimes it's meeting with legislators, other times it's meeting with local representatives, and sometimes it's just volunteering. It's just, we're grabbing a story and sharing a story on social media with somebody that that just got their high school diploma or that just got a career opportunity because of a certification. In Texas, man, your state does so much when it comes to adult learning and adult advocacy and education, from the career credential piece all the way through, through all the school district work you do. I'm curious if you had a piece of advice for an advocate who's just starting out, somebody that really wants to, they believe wholeheartedly that adult education is a key to success in our country. What advice are you going to give that advocate who's just getting their feet wet?
What a great question. One of the best practices I see emerging now is finding a central shared space for everyone that is connected to you in your state to share their success stories. And in 2018, I was hired to start a program in the Coastal Bend area. And I started the adult ed program called Crossroads, where we rebranded adult education in that 12-county region. And one of the things that I launched during my second year was the best practices and the success story sharing, because teachers will send me emails. They'll send you emails. So this new advocate, they'll send you this, and then you're there. Instead of having to go search your emails, somebody sent me this success story. Where is it? Or don't just let it sit in your inbox. Make sure you do something with it immediately. Share on social media. You can get some advice from Joel about that, because he's so good at doing that. And there's a lot of people who really are, they're mavens of social media. But share immediately. But don't forget to ask for disclaimers with students when they come into your program, that let them know automatically, hey, look, we want to share your image. I hope that's cool. And if it's not, click here. as a default, like we're going to share all our successes. But if you don't want to, please opt out here. So make sure that you make those stories sure from the onset, that you're collecting them in one place so you can go and when you need that information to share with decision makers, funders, whatever that may be, you have already a repository of all these success stories. And eventually, when you realize and see it all in one place, it is astounding. These success stories come from all over the place. They're all kinds of success. I know that I would get them all the time. I was just absolutely amazed at the stories of students overcoming challenges that would bring anyone else to their knees. It really the heart.
I love it. So Irene, this week we're here in Washington. What's a win look like for you? Like, what is it you like to accomplish up here while in DC?
A win here, it's already a win. Getting together with the contemporaries, getting together with, just on the podcast and with all the movers and shakers, it's a rare opportunity to get people together from all across the nation and get them together for this common cause that is saving adult ed funding. I was on another conversation online last week where we were talking about advocacy, and one of the presenters, Kelly Rhodes from San Antonio, shout out to you, Kelly. She called it a crisis. She said, in this crisis that we're facing right now. And I'd like to think of it as, and it was daunting to think of it in that way. But I think right now in DC, a big win is to transform that thought into the fact that this is a potential opportunity for growth. Shifting that paradigm, shifting us as adult educators to reinvent ourselves when necessary, looking at alternative levels of, venues of funding, but also insisting that this economic cornerstone, this mighty powerhouse, this sleeping giant, adult education, is acknowledged as the resource that it is, the absolute necessity that it is by people who are funding programs, that we could take, the smidge that it is, when in the vast scheme of funding, that this is not a big price to pay for a huge, huge payout. There's a lot of students doing the heavy hitting out there. That's their lives. And these are not just numbers. These are real people being lifted out of poverty, lifting one another, and then stepping into the realm of adult ed and helping others behind them. So I think that would be a big win. Is for us to all changing what we say. Just like Jackie, she's so masterful at let's change the way we couch it, the terms. And we are an economic cornerstone. We are making big wins. We are impacting work. Let's toot our own horn. We don't do that enough. The humility, this culture that we have. I know culturally that my parents, of course, would just cringe to think, that you're talking about yourself, or that you're tooting your own horn. But we have to start getting better at that in adult ed.
I love it. Some great advice. Awesome advice. So, Jackie, if we wanted to get more information about the Texas Association for Literacy and Adult Education, or get involved if we live in Texas or in the area, how can we go about doing that?
Well, we have the website, TALE.org, super duper easy, TALE, TALE.org. And then, you can reach us on Facebook, TALE. We have a Facebook page, so just look up TALE on Facebook. You can reach out to me and I can help you get connected. I am on LinkedIn. So just look me up, Irene Ramos, and connect with me on LinkedIn. I also have an Instagram page, and I'm on Facebook. And you can email me if you like for more information. It's Irene Iris Ramos. It is a super long email. So watch out, Irene Iris Ramos at yahoo.com. Now, Yahoo, man, that's so old school. Who can forget that? But it's my full name, IreneIrisRamos.
I love it. I love it. Irene, thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you to all of our guests. Irene, you're doing some amazing work as Vice President of TALE, and I really hope that, people will reach out if they want some more information on the great work being done in Texas, and follow your lead, get active, become an advocate, join Capitol Hill Day next year if you're not doing it this year, or do the little things locally. Go see a local councilman, or go see your city representative. Whatever it is, advocacy takes so many different forms. All it takes is for you to get off of your seat and into the game, and it's really easy to do.
I say one last thing? Let's call it a call to
Absolutely.
action here. Get out there and reach out to your contemporaries and everyone and ask them to go to the COABE website and go in there because they make advocacy easy. I did a PD called Advocacy Made Easy, and in COABE is making it so easy to get into advocacy. Just go to their website, get in there, look up the information on how to reach out to your legislators and send that automated email out and then just start that conversation going. When you get that return email, get the real conversation going.
I love it. So we want to hear your stories this week. And if you have an advocacy story, you have a student success story, you can share it at info@coabe.org. We'll reach out. We'll follow up on your story. We'd love to have you on the podcast. We're going to be doing this the rest of the week, first thing in the morning, and rise and shine again. Bring your coffee, and we'll be hearing some great stories from around the field. I want to give a huge thank you to Irene, to Ted, to Joel, to Ray, and to Jacqueline for all of your advice this morning and your passion. And we're looking forward to an amazing week this week here in Washington and across the country, making change happen in adult education. So we're going to take us out now with a short video. And thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow on Rise and Shine.
You've been listening to the Rise and Shine podcast, brought to you by the Coalition on Adult Basic Education. We've been celebrating Adult Education and Family Literacy Week, and we'll do so for the next several days. We hope that you'll join us, and if you have a story you'd like to share with us, you can reach us at info@coabe.org.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Heading out.